All right, bless her, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is obviously, of course, the Haitian Americans versus the FBA YD division panel discussion here on October 5th, 2025. And I definitely want allow my brothers to introduce themselves and where you at, what you're doing, and we'll get into any type of products or events that you may be having midway through the program, and then later on at the end, because I want everybody to get support, to what's going on here. All right, so and I introduce myself last. So whoever want to go first, go ahead and jump on it. Everybody,
I'll
Peace.
start out. I'll start out. My name is Andre Lewis in the States, but I renamed myself as Asantu Kweku Maroon. Um, I have a lot of names and brands in the past, but right now, here in Africa, people call me Asantu Kweku Maroon or Kweku Asari, or they have different names for me here. And so I live here in Ghana. And like King Kev said, I came from the States. I grew up, born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, born in Fort Lauderdale, raised in Deerfield Beach, Florida, went to Deerfield Beach High, lived in the United States all my life. And then I moved to Africa about 5 years ago, repatriated back to Africa, here in Ghana, and uh, started a whole new life here and got married. I have two children, brought my mom to Africa as well. And I'll share whatever experience or whatever questions that King Kev may bring up, or whatever experiences I have, I'll share it here on this live stream. So I'll stop there so everybody else can introduce themselves.
All right. Peace, family. So my name is Hassan. I am also a native of South Florida, by way of Dade County. My lineage traced back to the island of Haiti, and also I have family, distant families in Benin. Um, just intellectual maroon, social activist, however you want to classify it. Been an educator for a few years, specifically in African, Caribbean, and African American history. Um, Wrote a children's book, Haiti and Her Friends, and currently working on a few essays um, titled From Malcolm to Me, which is going to be the title of the book, From Malcolm to Me. A Baba of two girls, and yeah, that's it.
that's what's up.
Yes.
And brother Confidence, are you jumping on?
Yeah, I'm here. Just trying to moderate. I can introduce myself. This Confidence Okeke in Jacksonville, Florida. My background, my family's from Igbo land directly, but I was raised in California. I moved out here to Jacksonville, Florida, and I've been my background as far as activism. I've been promoting the UNIA and the Black Panthers in West Africa and the Sahel region and you know Haiti and African Americans working together. That's a big part of what we want to do. What we need in Africa, we need people working together. So I'm glad that you reached out to me out of Atlanta because we need Florida and Georgia working together. Um, but I think there's a start of that happening. I'm just here to support, and if you need me to chime in, I will. But I'm just here to support.
No, I appreciate brother Confidence. I mean, he does a lot more than what he's saying. So definitely, chime in whenever you can. And obviously, my name is King Kevin Dorval. Born and raised Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I now live in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, Ellenwood, Georgia. Now I just moved out of Atlanta to Ellenwood, a lot more peaceful. Atlanta could be a little crazy, but a blessing without a doubt. Because moving from South Florida to Atlanta is a dream come true. And when I say everything that I pray for and have faith for has manifested, I truly mean that. And it's been nothing but blessings. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking in my new home right now. You probably see the trees in the back. It's a 5-bedroom house, and I say that to give anybody inspiration who has aspirations to own a home or accomplish goals that are very hard to obtain. And so, if there's a dream, delay does not mean it's denied. You know what I'm saying? So just keep your head up and keep pushing. My family's from Cap Haitian, North Haiti. I had a pleasure of finally going to see the Citadel personally, and I'm glad I was able to do so prior to what's going on now in Haiti. But the main issues what's going on is what's happening in Port-au-Prince. Even though the media is projecting as all of Haiti is upside down, it's really just Port-au-Prince. That's just propaganda. I'm an author, human rights activist, goal getter, the bona fide hustler, just like my brother Quake, who, we had a bet back in the day. I don't know if you remember that bet we had, who's going to become the first millionaire out of two of us. Because we know we're both going to, do multi-millionaires, but which one of us is going to be the first one? So he might got an edge on me because he's out there in Ghana getting all that good cash and good black on black love. And that's richness in itself. You understand?
Yeah. You might be winning, right now the U.S. dollars is stronger than the Ghana. You might be winning right now.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that, but hey, now I know. And I appreciate that. And also, I want to introduce Dr. Truth Bay. This queen here has ever since I met her, we've been hitting the ground running. So without further ado, go ahead and introduce yourself, good doctor.
All right, greetings, family. It's a blessing to be here. I want to give praise to the Most High first and foremost. Brother Kev, thank you so much for going hard for our people. It's been a blessing to work with you and really bring transparency for we the people. So my name is Dr. Truth Bay. I'm a policy analyst for the 6th region. I'm also the Minister of Justice for the Black Panther Party. So I take policy and legislation very seriously and really focusing on our youth, Black youth, to get to know who they are, to make the sound decision and to create a governance that is sovereign for we the people. So it's a blessing to be here amongst you great kings and the audience as well.
Nice.
Blessings. Well, honor to have you here. And we're going to talk about what you were doing at the London conference regarding reparations as well. Please mention that. I think they want to hear that.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yes. And also, Brother Michael, away from California. Actually, both you guys are California, I think.
Hey, where in Cali you at? LA.
California. I'm in the Bay Area.
Okay, that's what's up. LA, SoCal right here. So
all right.
Represent.
My California sister. I love it.
Right on.
Yeah, introduce yourself, Brother Michael.
Yeah, my name is Michael. I'm from California, as mentioned. Good friend of Kevin here. My profession and background is in finance. I love to study history, economics, and things of that nature. I have a mortgage practice that I have up here in Northern California. And I'm just excited to be here and, participate and contribute wherever I can. And also have an open ear to learn as well.
Right on.
Amen. All right, let the games begin. One of the things I wanted to make mention was regarding this whole FBA thing. For those who don't know what FBA means, is Foundational Black Americans. And so this movement has been going on for the past couple of years, and it's caused a lot of division. And I've seen a lot of hatred spewed online. Some of the language has truly bothered me. Case in point, Mr. Tariq Nasheed. he had a podcast episode where him and his followers, and he has hundreds of thousands of followers, was just talking very very negative towards Haitians and our culture, and just I couldn't believe what I was hearing, especially since he's the one that came out with that 1804 documentary, bigging up Haitians, our culture and history. And the question I have for the panel is, first of all, did everybody see that documentary at 1804?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I hadn't seen it.
You hadn't seen it, but I'm sure you heard of it.
I know the movie, but the history, I've studied the history outside of the movie, so I just have more knowledge about 1804 oracles, but I documentary from his point.
Okay, definitely. Well, it's a well-produced documentary. It showcased the revolution, Haitian Revolution, which was 1791 to 1804. But the thing is, for him to big up Haitians like that and then just, pull the rug from under us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing on his podcast. It first came to light of how he felt regarding immigrants and particularly Haitians when that situation happened at the Texas border, when the Rangers was rounding up Haitians on horses and lassos and talking crazy, hitting us and tying them up and just looking like slave days all over again. And so I just couldn't believe it, and my thoughts on it is that, he's doing what Americans are known for, the American way, saying one thing and doing the other. And I can't say that it's all African Americans feel that way, because I have a lot of great African American friends who are they have an open mind regarding Haitians, Puerto Ricans, wherever you from. You know what I'm saying? It's all one love. But then you have others who has caused havoc, and those who I had to fight growing up. A friend of mine's, and he's supposed to be on the show with us as well. My man E Money. He was telling me, because he grew up in Palm Beach County, that so many Americans had so much beef for Haitians up there in Palm Beach County that he had to disclaim being Haitians, not to get jumped. So
Shame.
yeah, so and I've heard that before. Not just in Palm Beach County, Broward, maybe even Dade County, but Dade County was a lot more live. I have a lot of friends and family from Miami, Little Haiti, particularly in Miami Gardens. But the fact that people like Tariq Nasheed, who has a huge platform and a humongous voice, would spew that type of hatred, it almost sounds like Nazis. You feel me? But definitely sounds like that, because as you're familiar with Nazis in Germany, what they were doing was first they'll kill your name and then they'll kill you. So they were downgrading the so-called Jews, and then they executed them. And that's how people like him were sounded like literally, just like the Dominicans. Those who follow me know I have a video called Dominican Nazis that talks about how the Dominicans are treating Haitians right now as we speak, and it has been going on since way before 1937. But anyway, well, let me hear some of your thoughts on that, panelists.
Well, I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you can get a little more specific on, like that he said, maybe a quote or something like that, so that I can get a better, because I don't follow him and I don't know what he said.
Okay.
So I just need a little more information on, like, what did he say, or instead of or even a paraphrase of what he said, so I can have an understanding of what you're saying.
Good point. Yes, there's a couple of things. The question is, you want me to repeat what he was saying or what some of his people were saying?
Correct.
Well, for him particularly, he was talking about when that situation was, what was that? Somewhere in Ohio, where they were saying that Haitians were eating the pets and such and such. When Donald Trump and Vice President Lance were running for president, and how they targeted the Haitians. So he jumped on that bandwagon, saying that, we need to hide our pets, and why are they eating enough cats in their own neighborhood? Why don't they go back to their country? Even though
say we're on our own.
Right, pretty much. Even though those Haitians were legitimate, immigrants who filed paperwork, got legit, they're working 9 to 5, revitalized community. But one of the things that really bothered me, and I wish I could have got on that podcast, but I caught it after it was aired, was one of the guests was saying, speaking about the gangs in Haiti, that Haitians represent the highest level of degeneracy amongst Black people. And so when the guy said that, and Tariq Nasheed co-signed him saying that, I just couldn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? So that type of ignorance is what really sparked me to I've been wanting to do this panel for months, but that type of ignorance is what I want to quell and discuss. How can we form revitalize or pass the lines between African Americans and Haitians, and whoever, all islands, all African diaspora.
Well, there are some quotes. Basically, I followed Tariq, for a minute now. But one thing that I don't appreciate is the distortion of history. There's one point that he actually admitted that he have Haitian descent himself. But there are other points in where he said on his show, and I've heard it multiple times, that Haitian Americans or Haitians, for example, immigrants, are on their own. Basically, so whatever slander, and as Brother Kevin was mentioning, when they brought up or when they try to make up the fact that we were eating pets and stuff, that was as low as you can get. But the fact that people were on that bandwagon and co-signing on that was very disrespectful. And what I don't appreciate, because I'm actually a descendant of slave. So my history, my family actually came on a boat called the Good Ship Desire. And so my family's slave name is actually Desire, Desiree. But this was in 1636. William Pierce was the captain. And in that boat, he brought, coffee, cocoa, and some Negroes and some Black people. And those 11 people, they weren't considered Haitians, but the first slaves, a lot of people don't know that the first slaves did not come from Africa. They actually came from the Caribbean, Hispaniola. And this was before Haitian was Haiti, 1804. So when 1804, when Haiti actually became a country, that's when we can identify certain slaves from that region. But it just behooves me how I consider myself foundational Black American too. So it's when you really know your history, we're one and the same, because there were indigenous people on this land prior. That doesn't change that, but to dishearten that they were actually imported here as well through the transatlantic slave trade. That's one of the things FBA denounces, that it doesn't exist, and that's absurd. That's absurd. We can't denounce those two, because both of them are true. But we were transported not only on this soil, but throughout the Caribbean, throughout the world. I mean, the transatlantic slave trade is something that is so profound. So it just, again, the ADOS thing and the FBA, it's great to have a name or a solidarity to identify the Blacks that were on this soil, but to denounce imported slaves, we're all the same. And that's why I really don't understand the division of why it's even there. It's very hypocritical, but it tells, at the more that we have people that's on this type soapbox trying to denounce transatlantic slave trade and cause a division, it just shows that they don't know their history. And so I'm grateful that you even have a panel, a platform like this, to at least have the conversation and to bring out the truth, so that our people don't continue to lead with their eyes closed, and really know what the true history is of us as Black people.
I would like to say that first, I would like to say that Tariq Nasheed is just a symptom of a bigger problem. If he disappeared tomorrow, someone else would pick up the mantle, like Charlie Kirk's supporters, and they would try to be the new Charlie Kirk, right? We can't put too much focus on Tariq Nasheed because, again, he is just a symptom of a bigger problem. The culture itself between Africans in America and Haitians and other people needs to be addressed. Tariq Nasheed is just capitalizing, utilizing, you know what I'm saying, what is already in motion. So he himself as an individual, just like Charlie Kirk, is just a symptom of a bigger problem that we have in the community. So I don't want to focus too much on him as an individual, but more as what can we do to fix that situation. And also I like to say that, you know, two things can be true at once. When the sun is out, the moon is definitely out. That is a fact. I know we've been taught that the sun sets and things like that, but the sun and moon is always out at the same time. You may not be able to see it. So two things can be true at once. So there are arguments on both sides. On the African American side, that has a lot of validity to it. And then there's arguments on the Haitian side that has a lot of validity to it. I am of Haitian descent. So of course I can't truly say I'm objective to, I can look at it objectively and not have bias towards it, right? And I think a lot of times we lie and say, oh no, I'm simply biased. You can't. If you come from a culture and you come from a people, you're going to have your bias. But I would honestly say that there is two arguments on both sides that hold a lot of weight to them.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think that, you know, kind of placing these labels in terms of like FBA, you know, Haitian and all that stuff. I mean, I think that's kind of, that already divides us on the onset, you know, once we start doing that. And I think the, you know, before we can even get to understanding like what the trade-offs are, I mean, kind of, you know, going into this with these type of labels, I mean, it's going to be hard for us to understand that, you know, we're going to stay divided unless we can, you know, just kind of come to grips with some of our shared struggles, you know, because I mean, Haitian people, you know, we face the same discrimination as Black American people. You know, that, I mean, there's really no difference in that. I mean, it's just that our family may just come with some different culture, you know, that may produce a different outcome than other individuals. And that's just kind of a blanketed statement, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I would want to understand more of the trade-offs that we're doing by staying divided, by, you know, continuing to, you know, label ourselves as such, you know, versus, you know, how can we understand what our shared struggles are and try to build, you know, on that.
True that.
No, definitely.
I agree with you, brother Mike. If I may, I think we have to be honest in saying that there are differences. And we have to recognize those differences. We can't bypass those differences because those differences play and have had a huge effect on how we view the world. Like I can give you a prime example, right? Of course, on the onset, I look like a Black person. As FBA may say, I cosplay as a Black American. I wear my hat as a Black American. I wear Black American clothes. I have the lingo, but I have a different connection to America than the people who have been here for 5 generations. Prime example. And they have a different connection with me. Let me give you a prime example. One day I got put over by a police officer. He came to the car and his hand was on his gun. And he said, license and registration. I gave him my license. He read my last name and said, oh, you're Haitian. And I can see his body when, like, he literally got at ease when he found out that I was Haitian. There is a part of white supremacy that caters to the fact that Caribbean people don't have that connection to America. It caters to the fact that Africans are coming here for a better life. And they feed them the idea that you're different from them. And we somehow fall into that belief system that we're different. We don't have the connection that Africans in America have had 5 generations. My family was not on crack. I'm not saying every Black American was on crack. My family didn't experience Jim Crow in the United States. There is a difference in how the cultures were formulated, how we relate to this society, and how we're dealt with in the society. And we have to be honest about that.
Right. And I agree with what you're saying. And let me kind of reframe with what I was saying was just that, you know, there is cultural differences, but the shared, you know, struggles that we do share in is you know, immediately when we get perceived out there in the world, we're going to get perceived as just Black before they understand what our cultural background is. And so, I mean, instead of focusing on those differences, like I'm saying, just like, you know, I think it's more productive to see like, okay, well, some of our shared struggles are the oppressive nature of some of these systematic, you know, things that both of us are impacted by. And I think that really boils down. I mean, part of it is cultural in terms of the outcomes that our cultures produce. But then another part of it is the family, in my opinion, you know, and like how families are produced and how family structure is tended to. So, I mean, I think those are some of the issues, specifically family and all of our cultures is going to produce the type of outcomes that I think we should be seeking. And I think this is the reason why we find ourselves in this type of situation of, you know, these perceived differences, you know, because I don't think it was always like that, you know, prior to, you know, the Jim Crow era or the 60s or whatnot. You know, it's just that the family has deteriorated over the generations. And this is the reason why we find ourselves in this type of, you know, being at odds at each other.
You know, I'm listening to everybody on the panel and the validity of everything that everybody is bringing to the panel. Me being here in Ghana and me growing, I'll give you a little background on myself. My family is from Jamaica, but I'm the first gen that was born in the States, with half of my family born in Jamaica that came to the States. And I have a unique experience. You know, anybody from the Caribbean or Haiti or the islands, they can relate to that, where they have, if they grew up in the States, they have a value system for the Caribbean, even though they're in the States. And, you know, what I realize is the white man has done such a great job with dividing us. And that's the reason why Pan-Africanism had came into existence, was to find a way to bond us, like you said, where we can have something that we share, because our enemy don't care if you're Haitian. He don't.
Oh, I think the brother froze.
Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna get back on. But yeah, brother Kwaku,
If you're American, you don't.
Here you go.
It's. I feel like it's not. Let me not say feel. I would say I realize that even here in Ghana, where everybody is Black, there's Black people.
Uh-oh.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, there's some
yes.
feedback.
Coming in kind of spotty a little bit.
Okay. So I even here in Ghana, I realized that even though all the people here mostly Black, they have division here based on tribes, based on religion, and don't mess with each other based on their culture. And so they don't even understand that the white man is collectively on the world scale is judging us based on our skin. They don't care about none of that. And for that reason, we can only bring a solution by coming together based on our skin, not based on culture, not based on, because it's no way for us to be able to relate to every person from their culture, because their culture is a reflection of their environment. If they grew up, like you said, if you grew up in the Caribbean, you can't have an experience of a person that grew up in Jim Crow, or a person that grew up in some form of a different oppression that they had in their place. The Caribbean oppression in Brazil is totally different than that of the oppression in Africa when the people was getting their independence or whatever the case may be. So I realized for us to really come together, we have to have that Pan-African mindset. We have to look beyond culture, and we have to be bonded by the same thing that they are oppressing us by, which is the color of our skin. When they got ready to enslave us, and they made us enslaved people, because I don't want to say slave. We were never slaves.
Greetings, beloved. I'm grateful to be here with you today. My name is Dr. Critical, Truth to CEO and the Atlantic World. It also served to...
I'm going to have to put the phone on mute. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you know, I wanted to say that, you know, we didn't come from slavery. We came from families. We came from kingdoms. We came from dominions. We came from royalty. Some of us had skill sets. Some of us didn't. But we were scattered all around the world. The white man did such a great job with destroying our culture through slavery, to the point that we even would say, "Oh, I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from Haiti. I'm from." And if we go past slavery, we wouldn't even say that we are from those places. We would even just say we're African, or because even the people that were in America, the Folsom people, and those people still came from Africa. During the time of the Mansu, I'm getting his name mixed up.
Mansa Musa.
The Mansa Musa time, when they were traveling the Great Seas, and they was exploring new territories, and they were bringing civilization. The Moors were bringing civilization all around the world, and those times. So once I got here to Africa, and I was thinking like how we think, and I seen the division here based on not being black, just on you know, on tribalism and religion. I said, man, we got a lot of work to do, because I can remember being at Deerfield High, and the Americans was against the Haitians. I remember that. I remember like the Haitians didn't really hang with the Americans, and Americans did, and it was because it was a culture thing, and because
I remember that.
And people used to pick at me, even that when I was growing up, coming with a Jamaican accent. You should go back, cross the water, and you as if I didn't belong there. And we had, you know, you develop a complex until you got older and you start learning your history and you start learning to be proud of your culture and those different things. And even like how the guy I heard y'all was saying something about eating cat or something like that. You know, like I used to hear that growing up, and until I got to Africa, shit, they eat everything here. Bush meat, and if you just sit down.
Yeah, I mean, different
with
cultures.
An open mind.
Thanks.
You can sit down and you can realize these are people just were doing whatever was in their environment to do. If it was in their environment to do, they freaked it. They took it to another level, because that's what black culture is. We can take something small and we can just take it to another level, no matter what it is. And so I would just end it right there, saying that Pan-Africanism, saying that, like you said, if we can find ourselves bonding just because we're black, now with that can transcend whatever our culture is. So, because people are exactly where they are based on their awareness and their how much history they got. because at one point I used to tell people I'm Jamaican. I don't tell people I'm Jamaican no more. At one point I was saying I was Jamaican. I don't tell people that no more. You know, now I'm telling people I'm just black from the soil mother Africa. I'm from the soil of Africa.
When did you graduate from high school?
It pushed past my slavery. Say it again.
When did you graduate from high school?
97.
97. Okay.
I thought you graduated in 98 because I graduated in 99. And when you like because me and Kwaku from the same high school.
Okay.
Yes.
I graduated in 99. That's why I always thought you graduated in 98. But so you graduated in 97?
Graduate 97.
Now I got a funny story. When I was in I want to say my senior year. Was it my senior year? It was my senior year in high school at Deerfield Beach High. That's in Broward County. I remember it was some Haitian kids who just came from across the waters, and they were students there at the school. And there was a football. I played football and ran track all my life. But there's another football player. We both played defense, so we were very familiar with each other. And I was I had the liking of one of his cousins, and so he didn't like that his cousin liked me because she American and I'm Haitian. I just happened to be one of the more popular guys or whatever. And but her cousin, he kept picking on the picking on the little Haitian kids who they might have been freshmen or sophomores, but they were pretty young. But the things he was saying, he was insulting them, but he insulted me at the same time. So I told him to chill out with that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a bully or nothing like that. But I told him, you go ahead and chill out with that, bro. But he kept doing it. And this was like toward the end of the school year. So you just get suspended at the end of the school year, you pretty much flunked the year because you're not gonna do no finals. So I told him, I said, all right, I got you. I got you. So I waited for the last day of school. True story. I went to the last day of school, and so he come to school supposedly dressed like a Haitian, wearing tight pants, high waters.
What does that mean?
Yeah, church. He was being funny. Church shoes, a real tight shirt. Had his pants, his shirt tucked in his pants, and he just having a ball. And but he's not knowing. I have every intention of whooping his ASS. Every intention. So he has on his church shoes. So in my mind, I'm laughing. I'm like, man, he's not even gonna be able to defend himself. Because once I hit him with a nice combo, he's not gonna have a chance to get a grip or anything. And mind you, I just finished football season. We both did. So we pretty strong at that time. So I had on my University of Florida Gators outfit. Gators just won national championship that year. They won last night, by the way. They beat last night. Anyway, they won a pretty big game last night. They weren't supposed to win. So I had my outfit on, fresh, everything, and he's walking to the front of the school, and I had my homeboys who were Haitian as well to let me know which way is he going home, because he lives on one projects and I lived in other projects. So he happened to go the direction where my projects were in front of the school. So I'm just chilling, waiting on him, and I just hit him with a good 2, 3, 4 combo. He didn't know what hit him. Hit a mouthful of gold. His gold was all the blood was in his mouth. He's looking crazy.
Gonna learn today.
Yeah, he gonna learn today, boy. He caught one for real. So ever since then, like, he bowed down to me. Ever since he seen me since then, because I was holding that anger for a minute, because I really felt like, even though I don't speak Creole as fluent as some of my brothers and sisters, what I'm saying, but Haitian is still, it's in my blood, top to bottom.
The reason why I was asking what year you graduated was because an interesting stat that I just recently came around was the single parent mother rate in Black American culture. And I'm not saying this as a dig at whatnot, but it's just interesting because prior to the 1960s, you had households that predominantly did have, fathers in it. There was only about 30% of children who were raised in a single parent household prior to the 1960s. And then all of a sudden, after the 1960s, from the 60s all the way up to the 80s, you see this drastic increase of single parent households. And to me, I mean, that's something worth looking at as to what the contributing factors that has contributed to why some of the cultural, disadvantages may start to exist and start to prop up, and why we have like certain attitudes towards each other. And so, and again, I'm going to keep on coming back to the family unit is going to be, I think, the key to a lot of our solutions and getting back to raising children with two-parent, homes and producing the outcomes that we're truly, trying to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right now, I think we need we need connectivity. What we call I call it African culture continuity, where you can get a connection, even though it might not be your culture, but you can have an understanding of somebody else's culture just because you're Black. So for that helped me have a better understanding and a better connection to my people, no matter where they are, no matter what they do, and a certain level of tolerance. Because sometimes, it's not always you can tolerate another culture, especially if it might be in opposition to your own views in your own culture. But people have found a way to find success in that which they are part of, that culture they are part of. And again, it comes back to their environment, that place, that world that like how you was asking me back in '97 when
Really want to hear what this brother got to
when
say.
we was in high school, Pompano, and there's a rivalry between the schools, even though these are cousins. Like, I mean, literally, these people have aunts and uncles on both sides that might have just moved from one town to the other. And there's a rival in sports, there's a rival in schools, there's a rival. And it's even to the point where sometimes you can't even go on that side of town unless you've been going back and forth. You grew up going back and forth, and then that's the only way. But if you ain't really you wasn't connected like that. But when I moved to California, I hear you say you in LA, the lady on the panel.
Yes, sir.
I moved to LA and I stayed there about 10 years. And I remember when I moved to LA, just me getting out of Florida opened my mind to let go to rivalry. I remember getting in the barber shop because I was a barber for Clint. And I remember being in the barber shop and having a conversation about who's better, football in Florida, football in Texas, or football in California. Now, I had to put my differences aside when I was in Florida, which I was a Miami Hurricane fan in Florida, meaning that I didn't really like the Gators and I really didn't like Florida State because they were rivals. But when I got to California, you should have seen how I was dropping all the names from all three schools to say that they were better than Texas and they were better than California. Then when I got to Africa, and now I'm looking at Florida, California, Texas, or just football as a whole from the United States. When you bring that to a whole nother country, don't even like Miami Hurricane, or you don't think about LA. That you would talk generally and say, hey, the best athletes just come out of the United States. Now,
Gonna have to reconnect that connection, good brother.
Now I'm looking at the Olympics, watch the Olympics, and I see all black people coming across the finish line from the top to the bottom with maybe one Asian and one Swedish person. I'm coming to the realization, like, man, Africans they just the best physical people for anything.
Oh yeah, best of the best.
Yeah, if you go to the World Cup, you
Mm-hmm.
see them everybody team, no matter what country it is. If you see any type of domination, you will see black people on their team. So
They don't
just
discriminate. They don't discriminate.
you're right.
That.
The point that I'm making is we transcend as we get more and more exposed and more connected, or more and more outside of the culture. We can realize that we really, like you said, we are not that different. That we have a lot of things in common, and we have a lot of strength that we can pull on if we can get outside of that smallness that, like you said, is us against them, Deerfield against Ely, Haitians against American, this and that. Because see, at the end of the day, when them white people went to the Berlin Conference back in 1865, they sat down after the wars and they said, "Man, let's divvy up Africa. Let's figure out what we're gonna do with who gonna dominate black people on this side of the world and this side of the world."
I mean, when it comes to improving relations between different cultures, I mean, I think the issue still is just to diagnose properly like what the issue truly is. And I think that like the reason why our cultures are somewhat fractured right now, again, is our family structure. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't imagine that, prior to the 1960s, when families were more intact, that you would have much, in-house rivalries going on, because you had a mother and you had a father, and just the value system was just a lot different. People were more concentrated on getting an education and providing for their family, because if they didn't provide for their family, there wasn't any type of like state government to be able to take care, of that family. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's a fracture in the culture, and there's missing fathers. There's mothers that that are being supported by government agencies, and until we can properly diagnose like what that true problem is, like it's going to be hard, for, I guess, this generation or even future generations to be able to repair those relations amongst the different cultures. And it's, even though we may excel in like sports and things like that, there's other areas that we just, don't excel at, and there's, reasons, there's reasons for it. Maybe it's just because we don't enter it in, such as, like the STEMs, like the science and the, engineering and mathematics and all that stuff. Like you have your Asian folks who just excel in that type of category. Why? Because their families are really pushing them into that type of, education, and so, I mean, these things are what's, I'm sorry?
I beg to differ. I think when it comes to STEM, when it comes to like literally science and technology, I think the African nation, our Kibulani nation, is more has more young people excelling in that sense. They're just not advertised as much, and I think it's really due to manipulation of mass media. Media really determines how we shape and view what's our surroundings. That's why I say education is very important, because we created majority of the inventions. Just look at from the refrigerator to the stoplight to the ice cream scoop. But when we're taught nowadays, a lot of this is erased in history. A lot of this is not really known deliberately. So it really boils down to how now in 2025, how do we come together? Like, what is the common denominator? What is really lacking? And I believe these divisions, again, they are funded by a lot of, I don't want to be racist or anything, but a lot of white ring and agendas. I don't think it's something that we can fix overnight, but if we continue to pinpoint exactly what the source of the issues are, that it'll come to a realization of what we need to do in the end. And I want to come to that end where I say this is what we need to do to repair that damage of what the traumatization of chattel slavery has brought, whether you're born here or were transported here, so that's just one point that we can dig on a little further. But the Asian aspect, yes, they can excel, but I don't want to put that false narrative that they're excelling over Africans. I mean, I don't see that at all.
Well, I was just speaking specifically in those categories, because I mean prior history, yeah, we've definitely made a lot of contributions. No one's going to argue that, but for whatever reason, it's been on decline. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, like when you look at like just for HBCUs, I mean, the graduation rates, at HBCUs are like in the 30s and the 40 percentiles, versus when you look at your elite, in US colleges, they're up in the 98, 99%, graduation rates. And so I'm just like, how can we get back to that type of, status? I get like we have like the history of it. We've made plenty of contributions, in the world, for sure. You know what I'm saying? But let me just ask everyone, like, how many people like grew up with two parents in the household?
Yeah, I grew up with two.
I did. My mom, my beautiful warrior mother. But so just two out of us? Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, my dad was there in the beginning, then he bounced midlife. So.
And this is not a dig. I'm not trying to like, I didn't grow up with my father. Well, he was a well-educated man. My father was an architect, well-educated man, but he wasn't in the house, and I'm just saying, like, to me, if you investigate that aspect of what causing some of the fractures within our culture, it does lead to why certain outcomes turn out the way that they are.
And no doubt, I have to agree with Brother Michael on that one. That the family structure, it means so much because it brings stability. When you have stability, you can think, you can plan. You know what I'm saying? You can study, you can prepare yourself. You get, and I'm assuming you're coming from a loving home. But when you have two loving parents in the home, I mean, the sky's the limit. That's why I make sure my kids get all the love and attention that they would ever need on a daily basis, every day. And but I also like to address one of the questions that someone asked, Queen Arlene Stewart asked.
Hold on, brother. Let me
go ahead.
I've been bubbling for a minute. I've been wanting to go back.
Go ahead, Joe.
When the brother was from Ghana that was speaking.
Yeah, that's quite cool.
There's a lot of things I want to unpack here, and I think we got to slow walk this conversation because we just can't be talking heads up here. Like, we really have to diagnose and really say some real things, right?
Mm-hmm.
To address the brother Michael right here, I would rather have one revolutionary parent in the house than to have two coons in the house. So when we talk about Black families, right? A lot of times Black families coming together to create more coons to keep the society going. And that's that Black family thing. It's cool, but Tupac was raised by a single mother and had strong Black men beside him. So we can make that argument all day, every day about the Black family being together. But if it's two parents coming together to raise a Eurocentric Black child, it's worthless. It doesn't matter.
Well, let me just, pause on.
I agree. I can agree on that.
Let me interject on the Tupac thing because Tupac grew up in the neighborhood where I'm from, in Marin County, or a portion of where he grew up in. Okay, so I live in Marin County. He grew up in, spent part of his high school and teenage years in Marin City. Okay, so it's 10 minutes away from where I live. All right, there's a portion of time where Pac, had to go through a little bit of a struggle because his mother unfortunately fell upon crack. And so when you remove the mother and now you don't even have a father in there, who is raising the child now?
The streets.
Okay, so that exposed him to a lot of things that I wouldn't want my child to be exposed to. So it's just it can go two ways. I mean, it can either lead you to thankfully for Pac, it led him to where it led him to, but he had to become that because of the circumstances that he was unfortunately put into, because of the family.
Exception.
Correct. And he had strong males that was there. Geronimo Pratt and brothers like that stepped into his life and helped raise him. But the point that I'm making is that we can create two-parent households that can be wholly Christianized, and I'm not bashing Christianity, white Jesus, skin bleaching, and all the menticide in the world. So the whole argument about black families is a legitimate one. I don't want to take away from black families. But what type of black families are we trying to create? That's my argument.
That's right? A good segue, because the type of black family, and again, it comes down to what's being taught in the family, period. Even if it's a single parent mother, because I was raised by a single parent mother, but the thing that was emphasized in my household was education.
Correct.
And that's the thing that, you know what I'm saying, that needs to be, in my opinion, you know, would need to be emphasized in the household, whether it's from a two-parent household or from a single parent household, is the education and structuring the trajectory of where that.
Okay. So, brother,
what kind of education too? What kind? It's not just education.
Well, the type of world that we live in. I mean, if you walk out of the household at 17 and you don't have any education, I mean, you're not going to have much marketable skills to survive out there in the real world. Okay, so the type of education would be like things like in the STEM, you know, categories, or things that will create more marketable skills to enhance your human capital, such as, you know, the sciences, the technologies, the engineering, and the mathematics. That type of education, in my opinion.
Okay. And so the question I would have, because all problems are solved through questions and answers. So I may have more questions than I have answers, right?
Absolutely.
This society itself would not be what it is if it wasn't for Black Americans and Caribbeans and etc. Right? We know this to be true. When we talk about having, you said marketable skills, the question I would have to ask you is, what's the difference between a resume and a slave auction?
The difference between a resume and
we'll talk about marketable skills, because when they sold Africans, this buck right here, he can lift 300 pounds. He knows how to smelt iron. He knows how to do this. He's very reliable. Resume, same thing. I can type 100 words per minute. I can do this. I can do that. We're selling our skills because we're educated to do so.
My opinion, though, brother, because you're talking about slavery versus someone who's going to be compensated for their time and work and the skills that they bring to
a lot of slaves were compensated. That's a misnomer that they weren't. A lot of slaves were compensated.
Okay, so I mean, for myself, like I'm a loan officer. You know, it took me a lot of time for me to accumulate the skills and the knowledge set in order for me to be marketable in the marketplace. If I didn't spend that time, you know, to create that skill set within myself, you know, I wouldn't be able to get the type of business that I get. You know, simple as that. The market is going to dictate what value that you have.
Okay, so the next question I would have to ask you is, you particular, I'm just asking you in particular.
Absolutely.
Are you a revolutionary or integrationist? Do you believe in integrating into the society and furthering it and being a Black capitalist? Or are you into changing and destroying it altogether? I don't mean overthrowing the government.
I'm a Black capitalist. I'm gonna let you know that straight up. I'm a Black capitalist, but okay. I have a definition as to what Black capitalism means, which is, to me, I think that the term capitalism has a bad connotation to it. It has bad, you know, aspects of it, you know, for sure. You know, that definitely needs to be improved and corrected. But, you know, I believe in personal freedom. That's what I do believe in.
Okay, well, I don't agree with that, because that's not African. So I cannot agree with that. But that's your viewpoint. I respect that for you and what you have going on. I disagree with that.
Let me ask you. So, do you believe more in a collectivist type of society, to where everyone should contribute in order for all to benefit?
I don't believe in a society that is capitalistic. One, because to capitalize on someone to take advantage of someone. So I don't agree in that society. Now, you can label me a socialist or whatever, however you want to paint that. What I'm asking is, are you in favor of furthering the system by integrating into it through your marketable skills? Or are you in favor of totally changing the power dynamic between Africans and Europeans? That's what I'm asking you.
I'm in favor of liberating people in their minds. That's what I'm more in favor of. But again, my question is, do you believe more in a collectivist type of an economic setup to where you have a group and some type of central person calling all the shots to distribute, goods and resources and things like that? Like, how would you want a society and an economy, I guess, based off of an African type of, paradigm?
I would say, yeah, I would go with the socialist communal vibes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Now, who would determine that? That we have to live in a capitalist society in order to build businesses and exchange goods. The problem is the people that's running the show are the ones that determine for everyone. And that's where you have, again, the race wars. From the beginning of time, this country was built on the color of your skin. There's no other territory, no other land that did that except this United here Snakes of America, cacao. So when you realize that and understand that, then you when in Rome, do what the Romans do. But in an ideal world, what would work for us, especially for those who are of African descent, is reallocation. Because there is for example, the budget for the United States is at least $262 billion that Trump spends on military warfare. This is 1/3 of the GDP. So if we reallocate all the tanks and the armory to building housing, just sensible stuff for education, for resource centers for youth, it'll change the concept of a lot of things. But because we don't have that type of balance, we have to continue to be subjected to a governance that was never created or benefits us. So a lot of the things that we can do to create self-determination, sometimes we ourselves prevent that from happening due to the lack of, you say, education. But we can't change the capitalist society of how the society is drawn. But we can change, again, the mentality little by little on how we redistribute that. So I don't believe in socialism, because a lot of the people who believe in socialism are selfish. They have ulterior agendas. For example, Black Lives Matter is a perfect example of those type of people that utilize our Black pain. But then you have a bunch of, excuse my language, lesbians that's living in multi-million-dollar mansions, and not one law has been passed, not one administration or legislation have been passed that BLM could have done, that could have changed. So, I really believe in something that's brand new, starting from the ground up, that involves a little bit of socialism and capitalism, but it has to be a different approach of people running the show.
I would say this, though, is that I think we already kind of live in somewhat of a socialist society already. I mean, does any of you know how much of the United States budget goes towards entitlement programs to this day? Just as a percentage, it's 67%.
Wow.
67% already go. A big portion of that is going to be Social Security, and then another part of that is going to be things like welfare and food stamps and things like that. But I mean, a lot of our budget already goes to entitlement programs. So
it depends on where you are, though. Are you talking about on a federal level? Are you talking state by state? Or are you talking about county and city? Because those numbers vary.
Yeah. So like if you so Social Security makes up the biggest portion of that 67%. And then when you start breaking it down to like Medicare, and then with Medicaid, that's in conjunction with the states, but a big portion, of the United States, budget already goes towards a lot of these types of programs already. That's already currently right now.
I want to talk more about, like, how do we bridge the difference between people who don't have a clue that we are all in the same boat. Now, when I hear y'all talk, y'all are, it's like, there's always tiers and levels to everything. And I want to come back to what the brother was talking about earlier about being Afro centric and versus being Eurocentric. And once you live in the States, you in a white man's world. Once you live in the States, then you have to operate under the white man's guise. Y'all talking economics, y'all talking capitalism and these different things. And that's what the white man would talk, democracy and those different things. But that's not African. None of it would even benefit Africa. All of these uphold, and don't matter how you slice it or dice it, or you do modifications to it, it will ultimately benefit the white man. Even in education, you go to school, you come out, like you said, you come out to sell yourself like a slave to a job that would benefit white people. The best minds are going to work for the white man's NASA that are sending rockets and satellites in the sky to oppress black people that are trying to liberate themselves.
So I'm just questioning, what is the African way? Can someone describe it?
Yeah, so the African way is look after each other. No man, right now I'm in Africa. I'm going to show you something. I was at my mother-in-law house earlier, and strangers were walking by. She was cooking outside on a charcoal stove. It was just like a little one pot stove.
Yeah.
And people were walking by, and we were eating soup with fufu.
Okay.
I don't know who these people are, and these people don't live there. They were stopping and eating food with us. And I said to myself, that's the African way. If a man is hungry and you are eating, and he says, he stops and says he's hungry, you have enough food, you will share with him without even thinking about it. It's not even a question.
So, but what's stopping anyone from doing that right here? Because if y'all come to Northern California, just look me up, y'all. Y'all can come and eat with us anytime y'all want. Ain't nothing stopping.
No, but
we got Cabri, we got
But we're talking about systems. We're talking about systems, and when you talk capitalism is not an African system that can benefit and African people or black people all over the world. Like capitalism is a slave system. Okay. A lot of times when we into a slave system, then we just look to change places in the system from becoming a slave to being a master in the slave system. And then we perpetuate the slavery still. So the system is still chiseling on
is there no corruption in Africa at all with the way?
Hold on. Well, corruption is inherent in just the system itself, whether it's African or not, because corruption is definitely here. But y'all still didn't get to the root cause. Y'all talked about the spider web on the wall, but you never talked about the spider. The spider web is everywhere. We wiping down the spider. Oh, we'll wipe it down with education. We'll wipe it down with economics. We'll wipe it down with talking about this and that. But we ain't never addressed the spider in the room that keep putting up the webs every night.
Who that spider is?
At the end of the day, yeah, we got to get to the bottom of what our real issue is. We are up against a very sophisticated network of people they are a minority group of people that have become dominant, and they won't share power with anybody. Because the real form of education for black people is the handling of power. And power, if you ain't talking power, we ain't talking about nothing, because we need power to have an equalizer in the room. The reason why the United States don't mess with China is because China have enough equalizing power militarily, and even more. I heard I was watching something yesterday where the Chinese president was telling the U.S., we won't shoot the first shot, but you'll never get a chance to shoot the second. We got a bomb called 61 that can shoot 60 warheads of an atomic bomb and one hydrogen bomb.
Hydrogen bomb, yeah.
And they say we the only one got a hydrogen bomb. They say we won't start it, but when we get finished, you won't finish it. So we don't have no problem with anybody, but we know that nobody can come over here and mess with us because we can equalize the situation. And so as Black people, we have to talk about how can we equalize the situation, and that's unity. We have to get to a place where we're not fragmented, because fragmentation means I can pick a person off or a thing off one by one. But as a whole, we can't pick things off. So when we think holistically as Black people, outside of our culture, outside of our differences, and we start connecting ourselves like that, that means right now, if they have any issues in Angola, Congo, the Bay Area, the town, right there, you got issues right there in the town. You come right there to LA, you got issues in LA, and you get back to Florida, you got issues with Florida, you got issues with all of us. When they start jumping on Black people somewhere, and Black people right now, the closest thing we got to a real system in Africa is what the three guys are doing in the Sahel. And the biggest one that everybody can see as the spokesperson is Abraham Traore. Now, Abraham Traore is really setting a precedent and a model for what Africa leadership should look like. And leadership should always consider other people. I have a friend, and I had a dream, and he's not a leader. We go fishing. I had a dream that if the boat capsized, he has a fantasy about being the only one that survived. Where I remember in the dream, I checked him when the boat capsized. He was struggling as if he wanted to survive, and he wasn't thinking about it. And I was like, bruh, if we stick together, we all will make it back on land. You thinking about yourself, if you just do these little simple things, all of us will make it. And I was explaining to him, this is leadership. You thinking about yourself, I'm thinking about all of us. All of us got families, all of us got issues, all of us, we got to make it back.
Okay.
Hold on, Brother Mike.
He needs to, yeah. He said I'm out there.
I just want to say.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Yeah.
There are no European definitions and ideologies that will solve African problems.
Correct.
So I don't want to sit up here and argue about democracy, Republican, period. Like my brother said, the issue is white supremacy. That's the issue we have between FBA, between Haitians and Caribbeans. The idea who can get closer to whiteness by proxy, whether through colonization or we Jamaican, we connect with the British, y'all connect with French. We founded this nation. That is the idea that we want to get closer to whiteness. White supremacy is the issue, is the underlying issue, not capitalism. Those are just proxy terms, right? That we're dealing with, but no European form of thinking. We talk about autonomy. Somebody used the word autonomy. Autonomy is your own thinking. If you using European definitions to define something that we want to build, it's already capsized from
okay, so I mean, is there any so what's the example of the model that's going to distribute the best way that people get proper housing, food, and education?
It's revolution, brother.
I understand that,
it cannot be something. Oh, go ahead.
I understand the term revolution, which is to overthrow something that's already in existence, but
not necessarily. That's what is stated. But again, the revolution will not be televised. There's a reason why discussions on planning strategy cannot be publicized. When we're talking about unity, and I love when people talk about unity, the thing is we don't actually see that happening. When you say it and actually do it, it's two different things, you see. What I would like to see, honestly, is that we have to get to a point of uncomfortability in order to make that change. Too many of us are too comfortable in our lifestyle to really make a change. And that's why you will never really see ultimate unity. I kid you not. You got the strong one that says, yeah, power to the people. And then when they get behind the scenes, they're arguing with their brother over a piece of bread. They shunning somebody else, or they putting somebody else down. And the real boots on the ground revolutionary that's in the street, that's giving their all to support, especially our Black youth, they're not supported. They're ostracized. They're made fun of, or they're cut off, or the people get paid off to the point where they cause more heartache for that one. They know that's true. So it's not easy to discuss in one setting. It just has to be done. So we want to have a call to action to our Black, to our people that are listening, right? And we can't ostracize others when we're saying that, oh, because this brother is not African, I'm not going to work with him. That's a mistake that we can't continue to move forward. We want to have an African-sized way of life, but in actuality, we are too mixed in order for us to say, okay, I'm going to just think pure African. I'm going to be straight up. I'm for Black youth 100%. Anybody who knows me, I fight for Black rights. I fight for our youth because we're overrepresented in the jail system. We're overrepresented in the homeless system. And yet these two are where the changes can happen, but they're not. They're not being done yet because the people in place, we got people in blackface that are holding us down. Not the Europeans, it's the people in blackface that look like us. There's black faces in high places. And I hate to say it like that, but that's the reality of it. When we realize that, there are more than one way to skin a cat. When we talk about education, education is not, as you say, what you getting a degree by repeating the same thing everybody does. Education is when you've been thrown out in the street with nothing and you still survive. That's the real education. So how do we bring that to the people?
So what if I want to say something to what you're saying. We need allegiance. It's like it's not enough to have, like you say, genotype and phenotypical looks. You need allegiance to being Black. I start to transcend African because I just say Black because some people, like you say, not on the continent. Some people say, oh, I'm from here, but you Black though. I don't care where you're from, you Black.
Right, right.
So where's your allegiance? Where's your allegiance? Now, when we start talking about allegiance, we do need some reference. And that's where culture do come in. And now there's a lot of, that's where we start doing our research about history, African history, Black history, different things. And then we find some identity. And after that, after we find some identity, we find a way to stay connected through our Blackness. I mean, under no circumstances, because this is what white people find a way. Don't matter what they are, Republicans or Democrat or whatever, they don't care about none of that. They are bound by power. White supremacy.
Gotta take that down.
White supremacy.
So it sounds like we all want to take care of each other. I mean, which is a noble thing to do. So I mean, what if a part of the solution was all of us on this panel, or anyone who's listening, were just to go back to our homes and build strong families and instill the values that you think and believe that the world would be best.
Brother Mike,
we have to do that. That's part of the formula. That's part of the cake. That's some of the ingredients.
Let me impress something upon you, Brother Mike.
Yep.
You cannot remove the family structure from the society that the family is structured in. The family is a unit that keeps the society going, right? Family is created by the society. Other cultures, other places practice family different than in the United States. Facts. We have been given this one man, one woman, Euro-Christian type of family dynamic. That is not going to, if we know that we are in a system that specifically targets Black men physically and Black women psychologically, and we know that it is the attack on the Black family. We need to create new family dynamics, new
And
family structure.
come back to
And that makes it look different.
Right.
We definitely have to define family based on our, on our needs, not based on what the Europeans are saying.
Exactly.
But we have to think of ourselves as a nation. We have to think of ourselves as a nation.
Built through families, though. Like, I mean, that's what builds the nation, is the families. Like, you go
That's right. That's right.
Towns get built because there's a collective of families, and then that town turns into the city, the state, and then eventually the nation.
But
what I'm saying is,
but it got to be black, though. It has to be black. We can't sleep with the enemy either.
Right. Nobody's saying that. We, of course, but at the end of the day, we got to be responsible.
It has to be said, because some people out there don't know, and if they don't know, they won't know how to behave. So it has to be.
We got to start by example, though. We can't be talking about it. We got to be about it. When we actually see the unity of our brothers, you don't have to say much. But if we can talk about it, and then behind the scenes we're doing anything but, we can't be hypocritical and expect success, brother. So that's what I'm saying. Each one, it starts with just your backyard. You build that example with your neighbors, with those that's in your backyard, and it's going to spread like dominoes. Then you can each one teach one and get somebody else. But start in your backyard first.
Oh yeah.
I had to leave my backyard. I left the beach in Florida. I was living on the beach, and I was the only black guy in the building. I had to leave that. I came over here to live.
Now you're in the right place. Now you're in the right place. But you start
in Africa. I left. When you leave the United States, you feel like you leave in a bad relationship, which is white supremacy, to go to a place, to go to a better relationship. When I got here and I realized we the majority.
That's
Every now and then, a white man, and now I'm looking at the white man like, what are you here to steal? There goes the no. Seriously, like like I used to. I could walk behind a white man in the United States, and if it's not automatic doors, they won't necessarily hold the door for you when you're coming through. They'll let the door close in your face. Me too. I let the door close in their face here in Africa.
That's South Africans. They're learning the hard way.
The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm in a place where we have the power, and people need to be polite to us. And so that's another thing. That's why I say we got to get back to the power, nation building, allegiance, Africanization, de-whitenization. These are all solutions. Unity, culture, all of these are immunity against white supremacy.
So
all of these immunity against, because the white man is throwing everything. He's throwing division, he's throwing democracy, he's throwing capitalism, he's throwing Republicans, the Democrats, he's throwing everything. Religion, he's throwing one wife, one man, one husband. He's throwing gayism, he's throwing
me, good brother, I would just say
throwing all of this, and we've been buying
all kind of confusion.
We can't build a nation like that. Integration.
Integration.
Thank you.
That's a new word.
I don't been out there so long. I can't even speak English like I used to. I used to be a lot more articulate. Now I'm speaking tree. I'm getting lost for words over here.
Okay.
It's been long enough, brother. I feel you.
Yeah, but again, I feel good about that. I was ashamed when I got here and I was speaking like 7 languages and none of them were African. I at the time was speaking English, Spanish, Russian, Farsi, and all these different white man language. And when I got to Africa, I didn't know any African language. And I said, damn, that's not right. I'm African. Now I can't say a word that's African. And then when I got here, I made it a duty to learn African languages and say, let me get this, let me turn this thing around. And so now I can speak my mother's tongue.
I can eat my mother's food, and now I'm on my mother's land. I would, my mother would die here on this land. My mother would be buried here on this. And all of these things are corrections into what we had all experienced that divided us and separate us and made us maladjusted where we wasn't even ourselves. A lot of us got bloodlines, like bloodline. There's certain dogs that do certain things. If you have a retriever dog and you throw a stick by his bloodline, he will retrieve it. Certain dogs got game. Some of us got bloodlines and we don't even know what we're capable of in terms of benefiting our nation, because we hadn't sat down and done enough research to find out who we were past slavery.
But typically when those stories or values were passed down, they were typically passed down by like your great auntie or like your grandmother or maybe even your father and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's just
So the family is
a unit.
Yeah, you got to have a unit. The unit is necessary. If the man is out of the picture, it really weakens the immune system of the nation.
No, it definitely brings an imbalance. But let me pause right there. Let me let Brother Hassan. He's been trying to say something for a little bit. Go ahead, brother.
Oh man, listen, I implore everyone to check out Carter G. Woodson's book, The Miseducation of the Negro. Very powerful book. Marimba Ani book, Yorugu. Because in order for us to know who we are, we gotta know who we ain't. And a lot of us get mixed up with confusing being black with Yoruguisms, right? Like I used to identify as Haitian when I was younger, right? Not anymore. I simply identify as African. And why is that? Because to identify as Haitian is to identify with slave culture. A lot of people don't look at it that way. Like I'll tell you, yeah, they freed themselves in 1804, but a lot of things that they still do in the culture comes from slavery, like not being able to whistle in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like the griot that they eat, because the slave master gave them the bad part of the pork. We talking about Black Americans eating chitlins. We eating the other side of the pork that the slave master didn't want either, right? And so what my brother was saying is re-Africanizing ourselves is a very vital, important part to liberating ourselves, because a lot of us are just trying to recreate a European society inside of us, and we're always going to have those differences. Now, one thing I do want to say is we talk a lot about unifying to do what? What do we come together to do? Everybody say we need to come together. It is very hard to bring people together when they have you know what's really stopping African people from coming together? Ideology. That is the number one thing. My brother down here, Brother Mike, is a capitalist. You can label me whatever you want to label me. I'll take socialist for lack of better words, right? You can label me a socialist, right? What would begin to happen between my brother Mike is we would begin to have issues because he believes it should go this way and I believe it should go that way. White supremacy then steps in the middle, and now we at odds with each other. The only thing holding us back is ideology. My brother made a good point, said we need to unify under skin color. The ideologies have to take a back seat. Even like we're talking about white supremacy, right? And white supremacy is a real thing. But in the next 50 years, it won't be a real thing. Then we got to worry about Arab supremacy. Then we got to worry about Asian supremacy. Right? We have to worry about all these other groups attacking us. And you know what's going to happen? Negroes who practice Islam is going to go on the Arab side. We see that happening with Boko Haram and all the other people, right? Negroes that believe in fusionism and all that other Asian crap going to go on that side. If we don't get back to being African-centered, putting Africa thought, African spirituality, African things in the middle of everything that we do, it's always going to be a split ideology.
Now, when you say Africa, I mean, Africa is a big continent with a lot of different cultures, a lot of different, backgrounds and ethnicities.
That's what they'll tell you. But when you really study African culture, there's a good book by Chancellor Williams, The Destruction of Black Civilization, where he talks about the unifying principle of African culture, where it's about 5 things, and I can't remember them off the top of my head right now, 5 things that connect all African cultures. 1, we deal with our ancestors. We deal with the spirit, right? Communalism is another one of them. And I don't want to make myself like an idiot. I don't remember the other ones. But although there are different languages, and different things. There in every African culture, it deals with those five, but those two principles that I named first and foremost. In our culture, Haitian culture, which has a lot of African influence, right? There's something called soup jumu that we eat January 1st. The first thing we do is it becomes a communal thing. That's a part of the African principle. In Jamaican culture, they have something called partner, where they do, and we have to call susu and eso and all type of things. These things are unique to who we are. Marimba Ani has a book called Let the Circle Be Unbroken. She talks about that. These things connect us. So when we talk about African culture, we need at least 5 principles from those African cultures to connect.
Is one of those cultures being sold out? Because last time, remember, it was there that they sold us into these ships and got us everywhere else. So is that omitted?
When you talk about the West African slave trade, you got to put it in context, right? A lot of the slave traders that was in the West Coast, remember, Europeans came to Africa in the 1400s. Slavery didn't pick up to the 1600s. A lot of the people there were mulattoes because they made mixed race people in the west part of Africa, and then a lot of them were also Muslims and you know how Muslims were selling Africans. So when you talk about traditional Africans did not participate in the slave trade. It was that ideology again that came into play. The same thing that's destroying Haiti right now with the mulattoes. It was the mixed race people and the people who believed in different ideologies, not the traditional Africans who participated in the slave trade. Actually, there are scholars right now who are saying because of the resistance that Africans put up against that, over 1 million Africans were not taken across the Atlantic because of the resistance that people like Manabu put up in West Africa, people in Nigeria like Asante. So the culture that you're referring to is Arab and mixed race culture, not traditional African culture.
Now let me bring this up right quick before, because we are coming to a close, and man, I wish we could stay on this forever, man. I love the energy, the education, the empowerment. I want to leave you guys with this question, and as we all know, Haiti is going through a whole lot right now, especially the children. Lord have mercy. And we spoke about education. We spoke about STEM. How can we educate or get the children in Haiti educated? Not to get educated for a job, but actually to create jobs, like Dr. Abrams Wilson always says, and he wrote a great book called The Falsification of African Consciousness. But how can this is a serious question. You might even, I know this is a very heavy loaded question, but how can we actually bring high quality education to the children in Haiti so that they can begin to create jobs and control their own destiny? Because as right now, it's the white man controlling Haiti's destiny. They're getting ready to put mercenaries on the ground. They already got some there already. But they're really getting ready to change the whole trajectory of Haiti. We're about to lose Haiti in a minute. So the only hope we got is the children, is giving the children hope, because I don't even think they have any hope right now. So how can we implement some sort of educational program in Haiti, whether it's, and it can't even be online because, it's hard to get internet over there. But I just want to hear some of you guys' thoughts on that.
I mean, if I could just quickly interject, I think by putting these children, the next generation of children, on a trajectory to where they know how to feed themselves, know how to make their own clothes, and know how to build their own houses for themselves, which they already do. My uncle builds houses out there all the time. You know what I'm saying? But putting the next generation on that trajectory and taking back that pride that I think that we've lost, and empowering them to understand that they have the capabilities to be able to do that. Now, if that aligns with a capitalist view or socialist view, whatever, I think that regardless of it, that is going to be the key to freedom. And then also, educating them on the value of family and instilling the proper family, values, and that's all determined about what you already come to the table with in terms of your own values, whether that's Afrocentric or whatever the case may be.
They need to cut the check, sir. They can't do a doggone thing if the
French
billions upon billions, maybe close to trillion of dollars that they stole from us and continue to steal from us. There's at least 800 NGOs right now on Haiti's soil, pillaging as we speak. And we're telling these kids, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You know damn well they ain't got boots. So if we can hold the oppressor, the ones who are stealing, okay, the United States, who has right now the UN General Assembly was a joke. You have William Ruto sitting there wanting to get, you know, all of the $600 million for the troops that he already sent in Haiti. It was 15 months. What did they do when they were in Haiti the last 15 months? These Kenyan troops, they were in nice hotels, they ate well, and they got paid 4 or 5 times more than the Haitian police that was born and raised there. Now they just got together and ignored all of the Haitian people, didn't ask not one Haitian group or community, what do you think we should do? But they made sure that they had the CPT, the corrupt Lawrence Sincere, to stand there and say, yes, this is what the Haitian people need. I am tired of these 32 member states, okay? All of them that are now putting their finances together to help secure Haiti, but not ask one Haitian person, well, let's have a town hall and see what you think or what's needed. They know doggone well what's needed in Haiti. The kids are not able to go to school because the gang forces, so to speak, and I don't even like using that word because it's not identifiable. They like to give us guns instead of food. What I'm saying is that they got to pay us what the economic stuff that they stole from us so that way we can grow our food. The kids in Haiti know how to grow food. We don't have to teach them anything. We're self-sufficient. The thing is, we need the finances to buy the machines, to repair the damages, and for the European and the international agencies that are in Haiti right now, darn well, that know that they're not helping the Haitian people, they got to go. It's sad to say, but it's leading up to a war. It's not something that's pretty, but it's literally leading up to a warfare. You have a group called Water for Life, and I'm going to put them on blast. That's one example of a European American group that so-called is supposed to be building water wells in Jérémie and Jacmel. They took $15,000 from local Haitian groups, about 4 Haitian groups, paid $15,000 to build a so-called water well, and they did absolutely nothing. They dug a hole, and then you still see the hole there. There's no water, there's no fresh water, but they went away with close to $100,000 of Haitian money that I already don't have. So what I'm saying is that we're calling out. That's why I focus on reparatory justice. And I don't even like using that word reparations. I'm talking about restitution, reallocation. The United States need to pay Haiti back the money that it took to pay back the gold that built the United States, okay? The gold that's in Fort Knox, right? The iridium that they're poverty pimping off right now. I need to see Hillary Clinton under the jail, her daughter and her little dog too.
And her husband.
And her husband under the jail until that happens. And that's why Donald Trump, he needs to stop being a hypocrite, because he called out the Clintons in 2016's campaign saying how much the Clintons stole from Haiti. He was spot on. But who was at his inauguration in January 2025? Was it not Bill and Hillary standing right there next to him? So what's up? So
but
can we
it all comes back to city though. You see, there's no liberation for all that what y'all saying. Nothing would change unless a mindset change in a collective group of people that can go out there and work with each other.
Yeah, we do. Now, that's what's happening, brother. You're in Ghana right now. We're talking about those who are on the American soil. I'm addressing Haitian Americans right now because for some reason we as Haitian Americans forget when we get to get on our feet in America, we forget about Haiti, and that's partially to blame. We can't do that. We got to take the responsibility. Every other nation, when they come to America, they remember home. The Mexican Americans, El Salvadorians, when they come and get a job here in America, they send that money right back to their country. Here, Haitian Americans, we don't forgot about Haiti when we get here.
People send their money back home. They send barrels. They do everything. It's a Caribbean thing too. We do it in Jamaica. We send barrels back home. We build houses back home. We do this and those things. It's not. These are nothing won't change. Nothing won't change until we get power. Until we get power where we can equalize the situation. When white people can come into your sovereign country, set up shop, and take what they want, rape the kids, rape the women, and you can't do nothing about that's power. That's power. And then you can't talk power till you talk unity.
Correct. And until we can't
talk unity, and guess what? We can't talk unity until we talk about a different mindset. Like you said, the mindset that we have to come from can't be anything from the white man. It has to come from us.
Right. So we take responsibility to execute that. Again, is what I'm saying behind the scenes. So let's be about it, because there's enough revolutionary young men and women out there that are doing the work. Support them. And you know who they are. Don't ostracize them. Start doing what you just said. And you guys know who you are. Do what we just said, and then we'll see the change. Then we'll see the change.
We here in Africa, we doing what we're supposed to do here. I mean, in at least in my household. But like you said, I'm in Ghana, but what Ruto did, he shouldn't have done. He let them white boys go and tell him to go police black people.
Correct.
His people that he wait for a white man to tell him. He should have got up on his own without nobody telling him, say, how can I go over here and help these people? The same way Castro was sending Cuban troops all over the Africa and different places, saying, what could I do? Where could I lend a hand? Now, again, that's a mindset. Ruto ain't got the right mind. He's not. He's a politician. He's not a leader. We only got.
I would say this.
No,
I
would say
this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you only got a few leaders, but you got a lot of politicians, and you got a lot of people like the brothers say, who have ideologies to say, I'm Republican, I'm this, I'm a capitalist. But again, that ain't leadership. Leadership is when you can go out there and you can move and shake and you can make a difference. And again, sometimes the move and shake has to start in the home, and then after the home, if you got enough strength and power, you start the extension into the community, from the community to the nation and everything like that. So sometimes it takes time too. It takes time for these things to happen, because logistically, for certain things to happen, strategically, from an organizational standpoint, all these things take time, and it takes a collective. Like, I'll just say this and I'll be finished here. A lot of time when we go out there and we think about leadership, it's just a few. It should be 20 times a few. When you create a head, create 20 heads. So when one head get cut off, the other head can come up and continue. So that these are the things that we have to start implementing more. But this all comes from a collection of mind, efforts, what we call time, energy, resources, money, and skill set. We call it like that. We call it terms. So I knew I had to come to Africa. I don't play on nobody home field and think that I'll be able to beat them when they got home field advantage. I came on my own home field turf.
And I respect that, brother. That's what we need to do, is for people to be in the right place in order for them to prosper. Some of us are in the wrong place. And that really is an individual mindset to be where you can prosper for Black people. And we need people everywhere. We need leaders everywhere.
And no doubt. And also, if I can add, I truly believe, just like what Brother Kwaku did, he moved to Ghana. If a lot of African Americans were to go out of the country and to go out to Haiti, to go out to Jamaica, out to, I'm going to Jamaica, that's like a vacation destination, go out to the motherland and to see how other people live and eat and support one another, and then come back to America, and it will humble them, because a lot of them have that white man's ideology.
Man, y'all can kiss my butt. I ain't never coming back. Coming back to what?
No. I ain't talking about people like you who planted the motherland, but those who plan on coming back home, because it would erase a lot of that, negativity, and just that ignorant, that slave mindset. But
But what we gotta realize is, even though we born in a place, it don't necessarily be home. Because if we being oppressed, what I don't know why would you, but see that I have a free mind. I can't understand how somebody will stay in an abusive relationship. But when you're in an abusive relationship, then you want to become, you want to please, you have Stockholm syndrome. You want to please your oppressor. You want to show them that you loyal. You want to give them allegiance. You want to become like them. So that, like my brother said, you got to have some autonomy in your thinking, some mental agility to be able to shift. You have to be able to shift out of a certain thing, but the only way to be able to shift is to also to be able to realize there's more outside of where we are and what we have and what we learned. And this, there always been two forms of education: the education we learn and the education that we go out and seek. That's the whole book of Miseducation of the Negro. That's the whole book. He tell you there's two education: the education that the white man has given us, which the oppressor would never educate you into power. He would only educate you to go out there and uphold and perpetuate his system. So for us to get outside of that system, we have to completely step outside of that, start doing some researches into what it takes to be sovereign, powerful, what it takes to be independent. I'm telling you, if I can have it my way, I'll cut the money system altogether, because in Africa, we don't have money, but we got resources.
That's right.
I would do a resource-based economy. I wouldn't even do a money-based economy, because a money-based economy is based on these white people who have a printing press. They ain't working for the money. The same time it take them to print $1 bill, it take them to print $100 bill, and they can print. They run the machine 24 hours a day.
Yeah, they definitely
and they
it
distribute it how they want to. They didn't work for it. Then they telling me that I gotta work for it. See, so that's the first thing I would do. I would remove that system and start telling people, like the ants. I study ants. I study nature. I look at ants and say, ants ain't got no money, but they can build. I look at the bees. They can build a colony. They can build a nation, and they ain't got no money. But what they got is ingenuity. They got organization. They able to go out there and take. They able to go out there and take on a tall order and make it look small, because they got strength in numbers.
Numbers is power. Now,
in the organizational. Numbers ain't nothing.
Seriously, that brother Cake, we got to come to a close. Just out of respect everybody's time. You know what I'm saying? It's Sunday, but I wanted to let brother Hassan say something, and then brother Confidence. We ain't hear from you since the beginning, so please drop a few words.
Man,
and also when you and in closing, and anybody has something to say about an event or program or business that you have, please say it. Put it in the comments so people can come to your website, support what you got going on. And all right, go ahead, brother Star.
Man, the brother dropped so many jewels. I wanted to add on and punch in so many times, man. But you know, brother dropping jewels.
We're gonna do this again. Don't worry about it. You get plenty of time.
I definitely want to say, and to answer your question, what can we do to benefit Haiti? The last time I was in Haiti, traveling through the cities and everything, the common denominator that I recognize is that all the children go to Catholic schools. Like, how you want to liberate African minds, and they pray into white Jesus, and they got like, I literally walked into black churches and they had white angels behind. That's a form of enslavement right then and there. I don't understand how we claim to be the first free black republic, but we didn't free our minds. We free our bodies, we didn't free our minds. The fact that they were fighting for French to be a language in Haiti is disrespectful. The fact that if you were born in Haiti outside of the capital of Port-au-Prince up until 1994, your birth certificate said peasant.
Damn.
They just removed that off the thing in 1994. So when we talking about really liberating ourselves, it really starts from here. And to close out, we already got the example what we need to do in Haiti. Burkina Faso has already modeled it for us. All we have to do is take that and implement it in our country. That is literally the model right there. Get rid of all the things European, become autonomous in your thinking.
Can you mute your mic, darling? I want to hear my brother.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
No, not you. I say those who are not speaking, if they can mute their mic, because I want to hear you, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, we definitely, it starts with freeing our minds. So if Haitians are not willing to get rid of Christianity or at least model it a different type of way, there ain't no liberating a people. How you gonna go to war with somebody who looks like your God? How you like literally? I watched a documentary where a lot of the gangs in Haiti, they mostly males, right? And it came from an orphanage that was ran by a man out of Miami. This man molested 300 of them boys. 300 of those boys. He had a smorgasbord of Haitian young boys and young girls. When you talk about the anger that they feeling right now for this nation, we ain't got this, we ain't got that. Of course, an African proverb goes, the child that doesn't feel the warmth from the community will burn it down to feel the warmth. We got children growing up who don't feel the warmth from Haiti. So, of course, they terrorizing and doing whatever they can do. We got to get this crack up out of there. Out of our thinking.
Period.
Out of our thinking. Out of our way of being. Everything. If you ain't talking about getting the crack up out the paint, you ain't talking about nothing. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to nobody, but if you ain't talking about power and getting this crack up out the way, and anybody else who wants to subjugate African people, we just bumping our guns and we going around in circles.
Well, there you go. I want to see Brother Confidence. Go ahead so we can do a closing remark.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for having me on the panel. Just to try to bring it full circle. I know, I think it's important to keep having these calls because, the Sahel Alliance, what's going on in Africa, people are uniting. I'm basically related to that place. I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria, next to Niger. Trying to bring Chad and Sudan onto it, but I came on the call because Haiti is like the only military base we kind of have in the West. And I know Riek Nasheed mixed a lot of ideas from 1804 and then went in a different direction, but even the flag that they got for FBA is maroons. And we know Haiti is the largest maroon military base we have in the West. So it's more like I see it as like mixing ideas and trying to challenge us to step up. But Haiti, we need these calls because a lot of times when the Haitians are discussing solutions, it's in Creole and we don't have the opportunity to understand it as English speakers, but we can start bringing more governments and support. Haiti really should be the center of the conversation. You'll start to see change if we keep having these calls and bringing more people on. It's really, I think it's that simple. We'll start to see we have more resources. And if we get to Haiti, Jamaica's right there. Most of Cuba's there. Most of the black population is in that corner of the Caribbean anyway. So we should have these calls more consistently. I know, the enemy's watching, but I think that's the solution, these calls. That's why I attended. It's real important that we, expand these calls. There's no substitute for 11 million black people in one place. So that's my closing remarks. We just got to keep these calls consistently like a government, yeah.
Well, I want to say this. I want to say this just in case if I never make a call again, I'm boots on the ground. I'm getting it. Now that's what I would say. Action. I heard you say call to action. I'll just tell y'all this. I'm 100% off the grid here in Africa. I wear African clothes. I was driving African cars. I marry African women. I'm raising African kids. I'm a father in the home. I eat African food. I bring African continuity to wherever they are in the world. I'm selling African culture to them. I got kids in the U.S. wearing African book bags to school. They know they learning stuff that they never knew. And so these are the things that if we never get on a call again, we got to get on the ground. We got to be doing something. I hear the lady say she's doing right. The gentleman say he's doing this. So do the best, whatever you can at your level, because we all at different levels. And then we might be on a call, and we all might have some level of evolution from the call earlier. So just keep putting that work in, however you can, because that's every little bit add up. Everything counts. Put it like that. Everything counts.
I'll just close with this.
Right on.
I'll just close with this, which is to not be afraid to, as we continue on this journey, to continue to be open and to continue to challenge your own ideas and be open to just solutions. Because if this is a solution or a problem that we haven't fixed in the past, then it's obviously something that we got to do different than what we've been doing in the past. And I just think that, just being open, to solutions that may be outside of the paradigm that you may have already have thought. Because, a lot of the things that we've talked about, I've investigated a lot of these things, the books that were mentioned, a lot of these authors that we discussed today. I've come across them all, and just continue to do a compare and contrast between that and just other things that may be, potentially out there. And I'll just leave it at that.
No doubt. Then
yes, and thank you so much. I wanted to share, as you see, I just changed background, Black Power Radio. We've been around for 23 years. We are the Panther Network, and we are on StreamYard. So Black Power Radio, we'll be discussing things just like this, solutions. So we're talking about creating the courts of justice, which is why it's important that we understand policy and legislation. Everything that we do, everywhere that we live, is governed by some type of law. Know the basic, which is human rights. Human rights is not a law globally, which is why they continue to perpetuate and violate our rights, especially as Black people. So we want to, start off little by little with the beginnings of Legislation 101 to focus on how we can create that bigger picture, create a sovereign nation. And as Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have been the example on how we need to do that for Haiti's sake. Haiti is unique because the international community as a whole has neglected it. And that's why it is in that position the way it is. But it's not going to stay that way. So I want you to go onto the Friends of the Youth. That's our YouTube channel. It has some distinct videos. It has some coverage of the UN General Assembly, exactly some updates, but everything you need to know concerning especially Haiti and how we can collectively help create that sovereignty is there. So again, as a policy analyst, it's not something that is well utilized, but for we the people, this is what we need with that, and a strong Black military to back that call of what we do. Those are the two things, again, that we're going to see victory. And in 2026, we are going to see those changes. But I thank you so much, Kevin, for bringing us on and even having this dialogue of beginning stages on what we need to do to help we the people. And I look forward to us coming together again to bring in those solutions. So Black power to all.
Oh, Black Power. And definitely thank you for that. And I just love the fact that everyone was able to take the time out of their family time, their personal time to share and drop some knowledge. This week, Thursday, the 9th, I'll be speaking at the Memorial March for the Battle of Savannah, 1779. And the international community is going to be there. You're going to have France, Poland, Britain, people from Britain, obviously, America. And I'm going to call out France. They may not invite me back to come speak again, but I'm going to call out France and just, ask them to, to pay up or at least contribute to healing and bring some solutions, financial solutions to Haiti, because as we all know, they played a heavy role in the destruction of Haiti. And Haiti
but you
lost.
gotta understand this, Kev.
Yes,
There's no repair when you still under attack. They can't. We going to the people who've been punching us in the eye and say, "Can you give me a Band-Aid, or can you give me?" You got the Sahel ain't looking for no reparation. They just want to say, "F you," and just get out of our lives and don't ever come back. That's how we got to look at them. They ain't gonna give us no reparations.
No, that's definitely a fact. That's definitely a fact.
Yeah,
Now,
we under attack. They can't
I know the United States definitely is like, because we can't get reparations here in America. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I don't know how we get reparations, you know what I'm saying, in Haiti. But however, I definitely want France to acknowledge and to put effort in, bring some solutions to what's going on in Haiti, because obviously Haiti's losing economically, educational wise, health wise. There's all sorts of areas that they can help in. I'm not saying to come and be the great white savior. You know what I'm saying? We got to do our own thing, just like our ancestors
no
did.
pun intended.
1800s, huh?
Yeah, great black savior.
Can't go to
right. We need another Toussaint Louverture. We need another Thomas Sankara in the building. We need Abraham Traore. You know what I'm saying? We need a leader like that in Haiti, without a doubt. But with all the problems Haiti has right now, you know what I'm saying? There's no way that the international community can just turn their heads and act like it's not happening. Now they want to see mercenaries out there.
That's a problem. Yeah.
But and also, you guys know that many of you know, if you don't know, I have a book coming out next year called America's and France's: A 1,000-Year War Against Haiti, Assassination of a Nation. So definitely support that work. It's you go to my website, kevindorver.com. The link is in the description. And let's find some solutions. Let's keep having these discussions, because everyone else is having discussions about their culture, their nation, and what they're doing for the future. We need to be active on talking about the future of Haiti and what we're going to do about it as far as boots on the ground. And
right on.
Appreciate it. And with that being said, I thank you all. I bless you all. And everyone who's watching this video, please share it wherever you at. Drop a comment, and many blessings.
Blessings. Black power, baby.
Much love.
And black power, y'all.
Peace and black power.
And black protectionism. We got to protect each other.
Amen.
By any means necessary. Okay, y'all have a good night.
All right. Blessings, brother. Thank you.
Blessings. Peace out.
Bye.